This is the Sony BRAVIA 9, and it's probably one of the best TVs Sony has ever made. But this video isn't about how good this will look in your living room. Today, I'm going to use this TV in an unconventional way. I'm going to use it to make a video for my dad. Let me explain. My dad throughout my life has been the biggest Sony fan that I know. Here's some proof. So as a reward for his lifelong commitment to Sony products, Sony sponsored this showcase video where I'm going to give away the BRAVIA 9 to my dad. The video I'm making for him is going to reveal this surprise. I thought it would be a great opportunity to put the BRAVIA 9 to the test in a professional context to see if a TV can actually be useful for making content. Here's what we're going to cover. I'm going to talk about my idea for this surprise video. I'm going to break down my lighting and some of the challenges of this shoot. I'll discuss how this TV fits into the video creation process and why this makes any sense. Then at the end, we will have a screening with my dad where I get to reveal the big surprise. He has no idea that I am doing any of this. Let's get started. Let's start by breaking down this home theater setup. For the TV, we have the Sony BRAVIA 9, which is the brightest 4K TV Sony has ever produced. The brightness itself, though, isn't even the best part. This TV is bright while also managing great out-of-the-box color accuracy. I'm going to put this to the test a bit later in this video. As impressive as this TV is as the centerpiece of this setup, the audio system is equally impressive. We have the BRAVIA Theater Bar 9 soundbar, SW5 subwoofer, and a pair of the RS5 wireless speakers. This whole system consists of a total of 15 speaker channels. It has full support of Dolby Atmos, and when you pair that with up-firing speakers, this setup produces an impressive surround sound experience. When it comes to content, I tend to focus on great visuals, but I cannot deny that you can't truly have an impressive experience without great audio. My dad has never had a home theater setup this good before. I am really excited for him to see it. Making this video was not going to be easy in the 2-week window of time that I had to plan, shoot, and edit the entire video before the screening with my dad. This meant that I had to keep the idea of the video as simple as possible in order for it to be feasible in this time frame. In order to make it personal for an extra layer of surprise, I decided to pull from my dad's childhood by making a video about my grandmother cooking his favorite meal. This meant that the first problem that I had to solve was finding out my dad's favorite meal as a kid without arousing suspicion. Ironically, the least suspicious way for me to personally ask my dad for this information was to pretend that I was making a different video. I decided to set up a fake interview with my dad, pretending that I was testing out a new microphone in order to ask him what his favorite food was.
My mom making you meals when you were a kid, and if she was to cook something, what was your favorite?
Oh, the stuffed bitter melon.
Stuffed bitter melon.
Yeah, that's one.
Now that I knew that my dad's favorite food was stuffed bitter melon, I could start putting together all the pieces to make this video. Here was my idea. I'd bring my grandma to Chinatown to shoot her searching for the ingredients that compose the dish that she would make. Then I would shoot her cooking and putting everything together. In order to tie the narrative together, I'd shoot an interview with her asking her about her personal experience with cooking and how she learned to do it. There was one big problem with this idea. My grandmother is 92 and only speaks Cantonese, and I don't speak much Cantonese. Adding to this problem, not a single person within my immediate family was available to help me with communication and interpretation on the shoot day. I'll cover how we ended up solving this when we talk about the shoot. I set up a call with my grandma, with my mom helping me translate. My grandma lives on Vancouver Island, so we needed to arrange for her to come over for the shoot. Despite our best efforts, neither I nor my mom could correctly explain to my grandma why we were doing this shoot in the first place. I don't think she really understood what making a video even means. My grandma seemed convinced that I needed her to come all the way over from the island just to teach me how to make this bitter melon dish. I appreciated her enthusiasm even though she didn't truly understand why we were doing this and just rolled with it. We settled on a day, I booked a location for us to shoot in, and within a week or so, we were ready to make this video. Even though this project was low budget, I wanted to give it as polished a look as possible with my limited resources. When I arrived on set for the first day of shooting, we started with perhaps my favorite setup of this entire project, the interview. I knew I wanted to embrace an interview look worthy of something you'd see on Netflix, so I decided on shooting in the front living room of the house. This was for a few reasons. It was the space in the house that facilitated the most natural look to the lighting thanks to the large windows. It gave us the most interesting background, both in depth and due to the props. It was a separate space from the kitchen, so there was a visual distinction between the interview and the B-roll that we planned to shoot. We shot this on 2 cameras for safety, with the main camera being the Sony ZV-E10 II paired with the Thypox Samira C lenses that I was reviewing at the time. Typically, you will see a lot of interviews lit with 1 to 2 lights, which is a perfectly fine approach. However, in order to achieve the nuance I wanted in the image for this interview, I ended up using a total of 4 lights. My key light was the Amaran 300C in a 50-inch umbrella softbox just off of camera right. This helped sell the feeling of a window light wrapping around my grandma's face. For the background, I had the Amaran 150C with a Spotlight SC on it to throw some hard light across the background furniture so that it wouldn't look too dark and give an unnatural look to the background. In order to further balance out the background, I used a Zoom Crane G300 bounced into the ceiling of the front room to get the background brightness to the exact level I was looking for. Lastly, the Nanlite Pavoslim 60C acted as a front fill light to just barely lift the shadows on my grandma's face. This light was set to just 1%. Something I've learned over all the years of lighting interviews like this is that you very rarely need to use most lights at 100%, especially when you are lighting your foreground and background separately. You also don't always have to light interviews this precisely to get a great looking image. But because we could afford the time with our first setup, I wanted to get as nuanced a look as I could afford. Once the interview lighting was set, we shot the interview with my grandma while my aunt was on a Zoom call with us, helping to translate the answers that I could not understand. After an hour, I felt like we had enough and we moved on to our cooking shots. For lighting the kitchen, I wanted to try and stick with mostly the same setup for the entire day because we had a lot of shots to get through and very little time to tweak lighting as we went. I ended up putting 2 Nanlite Pavoslims together in a 4x1 foot configuration rigged on a boom arm over the island. This setup gave me the freedom to move around the island freely without ever repositioning my key light. To prevent my key light from spreading light all over this very white kitchen, I skirted the Pavoslims with a large piece of black duvetine, which kept as much light off the walls as possible, promoting more depth in our shots. Then I added one other light, the Amaran F22C, as a side edge light towards the back area of the kitchen. This gave me a nice highlight to my grandma and everything she was working with on the island. When shooting in small rooms like this kitchen on a tight schedule and with minimal crew, I always tend to try to find a single lighting setup that will get us through the majority of our shots. This saves us time for moving things around and keeps the look fairly consistent as not much is being changed between the shots. The language barrier made it a real challenge to direct my grandmother while simultaneously trying to shoot this video. She was fairly focused on just pushing through the cooking despite our emphasis on needing to capture every step in our shot list. We had multiple funny moments of her trying to work ahead of us before I was ready to roll the camera. We definitely missed a few shots because of this, but that was bound to happen when there is a language barrier. After about 12 hours of shooting, we wrapped our day, and I swear I was more tired than my grandma, even though she chose not to take a break during the shoot, despite my offering multiple times. Her stamina at 92 is incredibly impressive to me. I don't normally enjoy editing, but I was very excited about trying Sony's new BRAVIA 9 in my post-production workflow. I've tried in the past to use TVs as reference displays in an editing workflow, but I've often found myself disappointed because the color accuracy was often off, even with calibration. The BRAVIA 9 seems poised to solve this problem with additional benefits. Sony has implemented a brand new driver in this QLED panel, which makes this the brightest TV Sony has made to date. I got a chance to view the BRAVIA 9 side by side with a previous generation Sony TV, and the difference in processing is impressive. On the right, you can see that the BRAVIA 9, even without the top layer, gives a perceptible shape of the image in the LEDs that the previous generation could not produce. This simply means that the Bravia 9's sharpness, contrast, and perceived brightness are noticeably better than previous generations. Something that I didn't get to try out for myself during this process, but I personally feel is a really cool feature, is the ability for this TV to roll off detail in content that is mastered up to 4000 nits, thanks to its excellent peak brightness. So for anyone who wants to view or make HDR content, this TV is well positioned to serve both the end user and professionals making content. The real world result of this is that the Bravia 9 gives an incredibly balanced looking image that is both very accurate in its colors and incredibly bright. Here's why that's cool for me in an editing context. When I sat down to work with the Bravia 9 and edit this short movie, I was really surprised by how much I enjoyed the experience of editing on a display this large with this degree of image quality. Seeing my work at 65 inches put things into a new perspective for me and gave me inspiration about different ways I could approach my future work to be viewed on a display this large or even larger. It's genuinely hard to describe in words what viewing your own work like this will make you feel, but you should definitely try it if you can. Secondly, and more importantly, when I began playing around with a base color grade for this project, I experienced something I haven't before. When I looked at my calibrated desktop display and the Bravia 9 at the same time, the color from both displays looked identical to my eye. This was really cool because for the first time I could look at a TV during the color grading process and be confident that it matched what I wanted the project to look like in the end, which has not been the case for me in the past. Knowing that the movie I was making was going to look exactly as I wanted on this TV when I surprised my dad made the entire process of editing and color grading a lot more satisfying and fun. I was able to just focus on the creative decisions without worrying about whether the display was displaying an accurate representation of the images. As fun as the color grading on the Bravia 9 was, I got really down to the wire finishing this project before the surprise with my dad. I was quite literally working on this up to an hour before showing it to him, and we still needed to set up the room where we were going to do the surprise. Here's the setup. I invited my dad over to try out the Bravia 9 and I simply told him that all I needed was his genuine reaction for a video about this TV. Let's see how this surprise played out. What I'm gonna do right now is we're gonna go through a bunch of different kinds of content. After each one, I'll have you tell me what you thought of like how it looked and how it sounded. And then I'll show you something at the end that will be like the last thing I show you.
Sure.
How does that feel?
You're there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what it feels like.
That's the user experience is really nice.
Yeah.
I like it. See, this is it. This is really the experience. This is nice. This is nice. These are the kind of experience that when I watch TV, I want to know. I want to be, immersed in the video experience and sound experience. I definitely need to invest one of these.
Okay, I have one more thing to show you.
My name is Lau Mason. The age is 92. The 苦瓜 is 係咁樣做咯，即係喺 country 嗰度，即有呢個
What do you shoot this?
餸菜可以做咯。我唔係學好多㗎，因為以前咧我唔識煮嘢，煲飯又煲燶，煮餸又煮到黃晒 yellow， 即係乜嘢都唔識嘅，即係乜嘢都唔識做嘅，但係變到 拉尾乜嘢都要學啊嘛，所以就慢慢就即係學識咗做，你唔做都冇得食啊嘛，所以一定要做啊嘛，一定要自己學識啊，因為冇錢出去呢場嗰度買，即係茶樓嗰度買嘢啊嘛，啱唔啱啊？即係買嘢食啊，但係自己又冇錢喎嚇，咁樣點樣食咧？咪自己要學識點樣做咯。即係每個人嘅口味同埋個興趣係唔同啊嘛，佢覺得好食就係完美，係即係你做一件事，你自己認為好完美啦，咁你咪完美咯。Tony， 恭喜你啊！呢個 TV 係你㗎啦。
Wow.
Did you hear what she said?
Yes, she says this for me.
Yeah.
I very appreciate it. Oh my gosh. Where do you take that?
2 weeks ago. And I had Jopa or Mama come over for it because of making this video. I'm making a video about this. I am making a video about this TV, but this TV is for you.
What do you mean?
So you get to keep the TV, the soundbar, and the speakers. They're for you.
Wow. You're kidding me.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so thankful for you making the video. Is nice. I'm impressed. Is what I've been trying to do. It's like user experience wise, I would have spent money by myself. Like I wasn't asked for someone to give it to me or buy it for me. If I know the experience, I would have saved my money for it.
Have you had a better home theater experience than this?
No. Like this is what I've been dreaming to be one day when I was doing the basement.
Yeah.
That's what I want to be. The sound quality, the video, just like you being there.
Yeah.
And that's what it's all about, right? It's the user experience as you're enjoying the video. Thank you, Sony. I very appreciate it. I'm shocked and wow. Thank you, son.
You're welcome.
This project was a really fulfilling experience. Not only did I get to spend a lot of time getting to know my grandma better, but seeing my dad's reaction to the video was super worth it. I hope this video gave you an idea of how a TV like the BRAVIA 9 can be used for more than just entertainment. The BRAVIA 9 is the first TV I've encountered where it makes sense to use it in a professional environment. Depending on the size of your operation or project, I could see this TV being used on set in parallel to traditional video monitors as well as in post-production like how I tried it here. The combination of great out-of-the-box color accuracy and excellent sustained brightness even for challenging HDR scenes really makes the BRAVIA 9 unique. I can't stress enough how cool knowing the display you are using to make your content could also be the display the end user watches it on. It's a rare opportunity for control that what you watch on the TV will be as you, the creator, intended. I hope you guys enjoyed this video as much as I did making it. If you would like to learn more about the Sony BRAVIA 9, you can check out the first link in the video description. Thank you to Sony for giving me so much creative freedom on this project. I hope you guys have a great day.